All right.
Questions?
Any questions?
Okay. All right, Coach. That was a great win the other night in Tempe, Arizona against Arizona State. Keyshawn Hall obviously going off for 40 points. Just kind of reflect on that game and what you liked about your team.
Well, I thought it was a great game, a great environment. I thought our guys came prepared. And, what was impressive about Keyshawn was how he let the game come to him, and he was able to accomplish that. I mean, he's, like I said, a three-level scorer. I think you saw his full arsenal of the things he's capable of doing. And not only did he do that, but he was making his teammates better with the way he played on both sides of the basketball. So just really proud of him and all of our guys. I thought it was a great team win. I thought Keyshawn, led the charge by setting the tone early.
Coach, so elaborate more on Keyshawn Hall. This isn't the first time we've seen this performance, but in this extent, yes. In the first half, a few weeks ago, we saw him have a perfect shooting half, and then prior, he's been the leading scorer for the Knights this season. So what have you seen out of him? Did you see this when recruiting him?
We were hopeful that he would provide this type of, play for us because we were looking for someone to help us score the basketball. And he's done that. He's come in, he's been willing to listen and learn exactly what we want. So he's coachable, and by doing so, I think he's been terrific for us. And his best basketball, I think, is still ahead of him. As he's continued to learn our system and learn me as his coach, I think he's only continued to improve. But he's been really good for us. Our guys have been able to play off of him because of his ability to score the basketball. I think he's made guys around him better.
Coach, obviously Keyshawn was the catalyst for your offense the other night, but you got big performances from JJ and Darius as well. How important was their court presence when Keyshawn was out with foul trouble?
Well, let me just stay right here. I mean, Darius Johnson has been amazing for us all year long. His presence on the court, his floor leadership as a senior point guard, has really helped us in a number of ways. His leadership with his own players, his poise and his composure, man, down the stretch of basketball games is something that I think I can't overstate. I mean, he's been very, very good for us in that area. And of course, having a guy like JJ who really responded, really stepped up on the road for us, and we needed that. We needed someone to give us a spark coming in the game, and he was that guy. He came in, he gave us great energy defensively, and he made some really good plays for us offensively as well. So I'm super excited about his overall upside. I always have been. I think his best basketball is in front of him, but you can see the potential. Some nights when he gets on the floor, he's just different with his length, his mobility, his skill set, and so I'm excited to see how he continues to grow and develop as the season progresses as well.
Johnny, you were without Mustafa. What's his status, I guess, going into Saturday's game? You were without Jalen as well. What's his status? And then overall health, I know there's been a flu bug going around for a lot of different areas. Are you guys healthy going into Saturday's game?
Yeah, I think everyone's battling something. It's a great question. Everyone's battling. With Mustafa, he's still day to day. Hopefully, he's recovering and he'll be able to help us. But that's part of it, as you know. And with the team, the same thing. You got guys. You change in time zones. You're changing different. Different atmospheres, different environments, and so those things are going to happen. We have to just do our best to, make sure we're drinking as much fluids as possible, and we're eating properly, and we're dressing warmly because you're changing, these climates so much. So something we have to make sure we're aware of. But ultimately, it's about us just staying focused on what we have to do to be successful, and that's taking care of our bodies, getting our rest, and being ready to compete.
Jalen?
And Jalen, I'm sorry. And Jalen's still day-to-day also, still day-to-day. Not sure of his overall status. We'll just have to wait and see. But, of course, as I said before, he wants to be out there. It's one of those things that's just lingered, and it's made it very difficult.
Defensively, you guys are at the bottom of the league in terms of points per game allowed, and teams are shooting about 49% since the start of conference play. So looking back at the last 5 games, so what sort of tendencies are you trying to get the group to focus on the other end of the floor, and especially against a team like Houston where the points are going to be at a premium?
Well, we have to understand the importance of how we have to guard. I mean, this is the first team I think I've had during this time of the year where we're at the bottom defensively. I've never been near there, defensively, and so we have to continue to get better. Now, to their credit, we've still found ways to be competitive, still found ways to win. What we have to do is we have to shore up our defense, make it a little tighter at what we do, and execute it better. And that's what we're going to work on. So it's our job to make sure we're working on things to help us execute our defense better, to make sure that we are focused on the things that we have to be focused on to slow teams down. But again, this league is full of terrific players and great coaches, and so it's always going to be a challenge. but we have got to meet that challenge and become better at, the areas that we know we can improve on defensively.
Coach, looking ahead to Saturday, have you been able to take a look at Houston at all, and what have you seen from them if you have?
I haven't had a chance to really study Houston too much, because we're just getting back. But the thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we come with the right mindset, to compete. They're a great program. Historically, they've been a top 15, top 20 program in recent history under Coach Sampson. They've done an amazing job. So we know the type of challenges that they pose. And we have to come out with the mindset that we have to be competitive for 40 minutes. They're not a team that's ever going to beat themselves. You're going to have to, you're going to have to win the game by just playing really good basketball for 40 minutes and being strong with the basketball.
Coming off a big road win that you guys just had, how can you use that momentum against a top 10 team coming into Division Financial?
Well, the thing we have to have in addition to financial, we have to have what we've had all season long, and that's our fans, our crowd. I mean, going out on the road and being in some of these hostile environments, the thing I've noticed is our environment is as good as anybody's environment. We got a great atmosphere here. Our student section has been amazing for years now, and our fans and our supporters are coming in now as well. And so that makes our environment, just so we know, here in Orlando, one of the best basketball environments in the country, in our conference. And that's what I've seen so far being out on the road. So it starts there, and then for us, when we get out there on the floor, we need to make sure we execute the game plan. We need to make sure that we stay locked in and focused on the things that we have to do to be successful. Because a team like Houston, that comes in and they've been very successful, they make you pay for any of your mistakes. So you have to be a team that minimizes your mistakes to be successful.
You talked about Mustafa being day-to-day still. Obviously, Rokas and Benny came in, gave you some good offense against Arizona State. How do you elevate their game maybe defensively? Obviously, they did struggle a little bit in the post.
Well, we need to make sure we continue to be active defensively. We need to understand the game plan, and we need to execute. Now, part of it is when you have that many new guys and some very young guys, as far as young, either like Mustafa age-wise, and then young like Benny as far as experience and actually playing, minutes in college. Those guys are learning as they go. So it's a process. They've played, 14 to 15 games, I think, thus far, maybe 16 games. And they're learning. I think they're going to continue to get better. But each time they face an opponent, there's always a different challenge that you kind of grow through. And eventually, all those challenges would be seen, and then the experience kick in, and they know exactly what to expect. So I think as we're playing and competing against the caliber teams we're competing, they're going to continue to get better in those situations, and that's going to make us a better team.
I know it's ancient history at this point, but the home loss to Kansas obviously was a huge opportunity for you guys on your home floor. How hungry is this team to get another signature home victory, and you got a great opportunity against Houston?
No, absolutely. We're always looking at trying to just go 1-0. Against all of our opponents in this league, we're trying to find ways to win. And so for us, that's what we're focused on. We have opportunities, like an opportunity with a really good Houston team coming in, and we have to prepare for it like that. And our guys understand that, and we have to protect our home court. The bottom line, and teams in this conference that are going to be the most successful are going to protect their home court, and we have to understand the importance of protecting ours. And so that's something that we talk about as a team, we talk about as a staff, is the ability to have our crowd, our support, everyone around us understand, hey, we need to make sure when teams come in here that we put a good performance together.
Coach, I want to talk about the team's mindset during crunch time. We've seen a couple of times during the season when it comes late into the game, there's some high IQ plays being made, whether it's by Darius Johnson getting into the paint, creating contact, or even J.J. Taylor getting a late block last night. What have you seen from this team during this late game situations?
Like I said, they're composed. And I mean, a lot of times you're in late game situations, guys can get a little frenetic, they can get sped up, and then they don't really read the plays as well as they need to. This team, I think Darius has done a great job. I think his being steady on the floor and giving that kind of leadership, I think Keyshawn has done the same thing. It kind of anchors our guys, and therefore, they can play with more composure down the stretch of games and make the plays that are right in front of them. And that's what I've seen from this group. So the experience of like our backcourt, experience of like a Keyshawn, I think in addition has made it where we can, play off those guys and kind of know what we want. They know what I want and executing it well.
Mikey Williams obviously missed the non-conference, the important kind of acclimation period that he would have had, not playing for the last 2 years. It was kind of trial by fire in these conference games, but he's playing more and more. He was able to get to the line. I know he was even hearing it from the opposing fans, too, the other night. How do you see him starting to improve now that he's getting more comfortable out there?
Well, he's a young man that plays with a lot of poise. I mean, he has a lot of talent. Like I said earlier, he is just running his own race to be as successful as he can become. And the sky's the limit for him with that. And then it's a matter of understanding and learning our system, because he's been out so long, in and out of our system, that picking up some of the things that you normally would have picked up with the habits that you've done from the summer and the fall, he didn't get a lot of that. So he's learning on the go. And so his learning curve has really been sped up. But to his credit, he wants to do it. He's working very hard, and he's been contributing. And the more he contributes, I think the better we become, because he's a guy that can really help us as he continues to progress.
Johnny, Benny was pretty physical in the Arizona State game. Physicality down low for you guys in place of Mustafa. How do you get guys to balance that physicality, being physical, and also trying to avoid getting into foul trouble, trying to avoid having to find yourselves on the bench when you try to be physical down low in the post? Well,
very, very challenging for young guys who are defending in the post. He's never had to do that as much at Syracuse. They played all zone.
Yeah.
And then he's mostly played, the four-man position, so he didn't deal with a lot of post players. So he is really learning on the job right now. And to his credit, he's getting better at it. What he needs to understand is discipline. The way you stay out of foul trouble is you have to be disciplined, you have to follow the game plan, you have to be where you're supposed to be position-wise on the court. And when he picks up fouls sometime, it's because typically he's not in the proper position, and that's where we're teaching, we're showing on tape, we're working on in our practices. And as he continues to pick that up, that'll become a better habit. That's why I say I'm excited about the overall potential of our improvement, because he's going to pick those things up. It's just he's having to do it for the first time. But like any young player, freshman, even though he's not young, the experience that he's gaining in practice every day in the games, it's going to pay off for us. He's going to get better at it, and we're going to be better defensively, in those areas.
Kind of to piggyback off of Andrew's question about the team's performance in crunch time. Obviously, you guys came off a loss to Arizona. You were dealing with a ruckus crowd in Arizona State and a two-way threat in Jaden Quaintance, who was registering career numbers. How does it speak to the elevation of the team's poise and their growth to just continue to trade blows and continue to perform when it mattered most?
It says a lot about the players. I mean, I give them all the credit, like I said, with their composure, their concentration during those moments, because you can imagine in those type of environments, the crowd is going, and you have to be able to really concentrate. And those guys are concentrating and playing with poise, and they're confident in who they are. Those 3 C's, they're confident in who they are, on the court. And I think it shows up in those moments. So we have to continue to build off of all those things. We can't take it for granted, and we have to continue to, like I said, to try to improve. But I like our guys in those situations because they've shown that those moments haven't been too big for them.
This team's kind of taken a lot of lumps from national media sources, kind of listing you guys at the bottom of the Big 12, saying why are they in the Big 12? They're not a basketball school. What do you say about the last year's performance and then this year starting 500 in Big 12?
Well, first of all, I don't pay attention to any of those things. As a competitor, all I pay attention to is the team that we're going to face. I don't really follow any of that, so until you tell me stuff like that, I would never know. That's how oblivious I am to those things, because all I'm trying to do is coach our team, trying to help them be the best they can be, and trying to represent our university and our community here in Orlando. We want to put our best foot forward, like all of our programs. We want to do something special. All of our programs does, we do as well, and that's all I concentrate on, is making everyone here in Orlando and at UCF proud of our effort and how we compete every single night.
Having gone head-to-head with him a number of times now, what makes Kelvin Sampson's team so difficult consistently to score against?
Well, first, he's a great coach, and second, they have a great culture. I mean, you look at their culture, and it starts defensively for them. They do a great job defensively. These guys play really hard for one another. These are things I see all the time. And with regards to them playing hard, you can tell when they're out there, they're very, very connected. They're very connected at what they do. So these are some of the things that I see. And the only way you can stay as connected as they do is because you have continuity, you have consistency of guys being in your program. So he's been able to always keep some real good culture keepers, meaning some of his best players have always been there year after year. Now it's Roberts. Now it's Sharp. These are the juniors and seniors. He's been in this program the whole time. It's no different than with me with Darius Johnson, who we spoke about earlier. You have those pieces that are your culture keepers that are back, and they have multiple guys like that. Right now, we really only have DJ because Jalen hadn't been able to play. They have multiple guys returning. So with that, those guys know the culture, they protect, they defend that culture, and that's why they're able to can still stay consistently, relevant, consistently stay in the top 10 as a program.
Coach, you guys went 1-1 on this road trip. You battled against Arizona, and you beat Arizona State. What did you like out of this? What did you see out of this team during this road trip?
Well, I thought we were very competitive. You know, we came with, I think, a very good mindset. We knew it was going to be a challenging road trip, like they all are in the Big 12. Every single road game is incredible. And so we knew we had to come out with a real focus. And I thought our guys did. They came out with a focus. I thought they followed the game plan very well. And they gave us opportunities to win. And that's what you want to see. You want to see opportunities. I thought in both games, you know, we had opportunities against two really good basketball teams. You know, we came up short in one game. Arizona, a very, very good team. And then, of course, I thought we beat a very good basketball team in Arizona State who has a lot of talent as well. So it's a function of just our guys being prepared, going out there and executing and playing hard.
Overall, you guys are 3-2 in conference play. What's the mindset of the team right now?
The mindset is we're looking to, you know, take it one game at a time. That's our mindset. One game at a time. Who's the next game in front of us? And we're going to prepare diligently to be very competitive against that opponent. And so that happens to be Houston. So we want to make sure that we're geared up for them, and that's what we want to do.
All set?
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Coach.
Thanks a lot, Coach.
All right,
See you
thanks, guys.
Saturday. Thank you.
Take care. All right, guys.